gentlelady yields back. I recognize myself for 5 minutes, and I appreciate the testimony that we've had. I have a different line of questions for the next round, but things you've said in your testimony and what I've heard in the first round makes me want to ask some specific areas. You don't have a lot of time to respond, so I'm going to ask, and I'm going to, because I want a quick response from every one of you. So one of you mentioned the Elvis Act in Tennessee, which prohibits the simulation of Elvis's voice. Basically, that's how that generated. What about any other person? So I'm thinking, what if you do it, if there's a deep fake of any other public figure, and you have that person say something that's pernicious, something that's bad, something that's politically inflammatory, whatever. What do we have laws in place that would prohibit that, or is it just wild, wild west? We'll start with you, Mr. Redboard.
Sort of slightly more broadly, I would say that we have laws in place that absolutely cover a lot of these areas, but we're going to need to add AI to a lot of them. When I think about these issues, for example, when you talk about these types of scam activity that are being supercharged by AI, we have wire fraud statutes to address them.
Right, and we'll get into that too. But I'm talking specific. This is a specific case. So let's say you have a public figure, and you have them say something that's totally outrageous. It's totally deep faked. You can't tell. The average person can't tell if that person if that language was attributed to that person elsewhere. You might have a libel. I mean, it'd be a civil claim. You might have a civil claim of libel or defamation of character, or something like that. Does that, in your opinion, exist when someone manipulates a deep fake to do something like that?
I think it would require adding additive measures to what we have today.
Mr. Vinsky.
That sort of speech lies at the core of the First Amendment's protections. It's commentary on politicians. And so, for example, when the
But it's not commentary on politicians. It's if, let's say with maliciousness, with malice, that's the word I'm looking for. With malice, you say that Andy Biggs said X, Y, this. That's just horrible. You put it in the New York Times, and you did it because you wanted to harm me.
And if you take, for example, the Republican National Committee's deepfake about President Biden announcing a draft for Ukraine, that's commentary on public events. But, of course, existing exceptions to the First Amendment still apply to AI. And that means...
So that's what I wanted to get at. Yes. That's what I wanted to hear from you, whether something like a defamation,
yeah.
like
defamation,
New York Times, which is why I specifically used New York Times.
That's exactly right.
Ms. Paramel, same question.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the legal side, so I can talk more about the technology, but I do see that, that it is challenging detection.
Right, thanks. Dr. Bowne?
So there's this inherent friction that we see, and I agree with both Mr. Redboard and Mr. Vinsky, that what you described, sir, is likely protected under First Amendment. You have...
Unless there's malice.
With malice. Now, there's legal protection, certainly, from a civil right of action for if it were to be
so let's, not to interrupt, I don't want to be rude to interrupt, but I do want to interrupt. What my question is, let's expand it. A true deep fake is so persuasive, you can't tell the difference side by side of me over here and the deep fake. We've had examples of parents, grandparents, they can't tell the difference between the deep fake and the voice of the kid. They look the same, they act the same, they're remarkable. How do I have protection, for instance, from someone doing that? I mean, and this is going to lead into the CSAM, which I was hoping I would have enough time to get to that, because it's the same type of deal where you see CSAM, which is so persuasive and sick and disgusting. That's all AI generated. But can you, and we know this, I mean, you mentioned the one of the Ukraine thing. What remedy does someone have when they're a victim of this kind of generative AI?
Mr. Chairman, if it were to fall under the statute of like wire fraud, so you look at the intent of what's behind it, those are protections there. If it's to create misinformation, you certainly articulated the challenge and the potential harm that may not be outside of the law. And so there are gaps in protection when you're facing particularly harmful activity using deepfakes.
Yeah, thank you.